They really make him happy, Richard. Do you think he likes that more than making threes?
Oh, yeah, when you don't get it, that's what you want. Like, and look, Klay's athletic. That's one of those things that people don't understand. Look, that's not that wasn't hard. That wasn't difficult. It wasn't Steph. It wasn't Steph.
Oh, man.
Oh, what?
Man.
One of the light-skinned brothers can dunk. One can't. It's okay. It's okay. They're called the Splash Brothers, not the Dunk Brothers. It's okay.
Said last night that Klay is deeper than you think.
He's something.
Yeah, he's something.
We are Team Klay at the jump. There's ample evidence of this. All right, Miss Sun. Giannis throwing some shade at the Celtics, saying, against Boston, you can go down 1-0 and still be fine. But against Toronto, it's hard to be in that spot when you lose your first game at home. Man.
Hashtag facts.
It's the truth. The truth can be confrontational, right? And that's what it is, right? Like, people were like, oh, well, is he throwing shade? He's like, no, he's just saying this. Their team was very, very confident after losing one game, and they're like, we're going to be fine.
It is impossible for anyone to throw more shade on the Celtics than Terry Rozier has done in the past few days.
Facts.
So I think, this can be excused. Make commission. Here's the Pelicans front office losing it when they found out they got the #1 pick, and the ticket sale office just moments later.
This was awesome.
Over 2,000 season tickets were sold overnight. I think
Look at
we are going to start to
their
see.
cell phones.
They're there. They're out.
Like a telephone.
Shout out to by the way, people who work in the ticket office.
Yes, they did
work
not
hard
sleep last
and
night.
Do not get enough credit. Do you think the Smoothie King Center will be full next year?
Oh, 1,000% sellout from like they're
think
open.
so?
Oh, what? He is the biggest draw that the NBA has seen in years, especially coming into the league. There hasn't been many guys that have that type of draw. Just, in the U.S., around the league. He's going to play road games that will be sold out everywhere.
They didn't sell out very often for Anthony Davis.
I was going to say that's what
he ain't Anthony Davis.
What's interesting about that is we don't know yet if he's going to be as good as Anthony Davis, but he's exciting off the bat in a way that few other players have been.
And one of the comparisons to him is Blake Griffin. Look at what Blake Griffin did to the Clippers, the Lob City. And I know it was more than just Blake Griffin, but it was D'Angelo, it was Jordan, it was Chris Paul. Like, they turned it into that. But that all started with Blake Griffin, the Rookie of the Year, all of the excitement from college, him dunking on everybody. He's a very similar player, if not more dynamic. So people are going to come and want to see this. Kids are going to beg their parents to go see this. It might not be the Saints. It might not be the Saints. It's like, I want to go see Zion Williamson. That's just the fact.
All right, so you're saying the city of New Orleans is excited about Zion. Brian Windhorst, how excited should Zion be to play in New Orleans?
Well, this is a topic that has been blowing up my phone since last night.
Okay.
If Zion, especially seeing how close New York and Los Angeles were, would Zion be content with taking this clear spot that he's going to go to New Orleans?
I mean, he can't call a redraft, so what are you saying?
Well, he does have some options. I'm not saying that he's going to pick these options, but he has not signed with an agent and he has not signed a shoe deal yet. He could threaten to go back to Duke. I'm not saying that he would go back to Duke, but he could threaten to go back to Duke.
And say, this is not a threat to the league, it's a threat to the Pelicans to say deal.
And he has until 10 days before the draft to withdraw. Now, is that the kind of person that Zion is? The people that I know who know him say no, that he is, that this is not who he is.
Look at Richard.
And
is your neck broken?
He could retire from basketball. He could move out he could go back
presenting options.
To Durham and, and just, sweep floors out
I'm going to say that it's a conversation that's happening in the NBA right now. Now, Zion, from what I understand, is, again, he's a Southern kid from a small town. New Orleans may suit him perfectly. But I do think seeing that he could potentially throw his weight around is at least a conversation.
It's not unheard of. I mean, certainly Eli Manning had a long career with the New York Giants because he said he would not play for the team that drafted him. We've seen this happen in sports. It doesn't really happen in basketball. Yeah. And I had a nice, lovely chat with Zion yesterday. I don't feel that he's the kind of kid who would do this, but it is interesting.
Yeah.
And whether they threaten to do that or not, he is meeting with agents.
Yes.
And who are some of the finalists?
Well, it's the big agencies that have a chance at him. Really, Rock Nation, CAA, and Clutch Sports is in there. And, Clutch represents Anthony Davis. So the Anthony Davis situation is this. They have communicated to the Pelicans that they are not changing their position, that he still wants to be traded. The Pelicans' position is, We have until February. I don't even know what the trade deadline is next year. I haven't looked. We have until February 8th
Yes.
to trade him. We don't have to trade him by July 1st. We have to trade him by the start of the season. So I think there may be a little bit of a maneuvering here. Most likely, I think Zion's going to get drafted by the Pelicans on June 20th. That said, he has until June 10th that he could potentially maneuver a little
I
bit.
would see. Look, I know we're part of this whole thing. I don't think that's. Everybody has options. He could go back to school. There's a lot of things that could. That's not what Zion Williamson is going to do.
Yes.
Like, yes, he might be a little wild New Orleans because this was not something that was talked about. So that initial reaction, that initial emotion is like, wow, well, I never ever thought
They had
about
a
that.
single-digit chance for him to be
everyone talks about the Knicks. Well, there were three other teams that had the equal opportunity as the Knicks, right? But it was just the Knicks are the Knicks, so they get talked about the most. I think it does a little disservice to the community in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I think it does a disservice to the league to be like, oh, well, he has all these other options. No, he needs to go to New Orleans. And there's too many great players. We look at what Giannis has done in Milwaukee, right? If you look at what LeBron James has built a billion-dollar industry through Ohio, right? Tim Duncan. There's too many great players that have done it in smaller market franchises for us to be like, oh, well, if you want to go play in New York, if you want to go play in LA, I just think that he's going to be better served going where he's going to play, being the best version of himself, and that will take care of everything.
And you're probably right, but I'm just pointing out that we are in the player empowerment age.
Well, look, to your point about
Well, I did see
other
Steve
markets.
Francis cry and say, I'm not going to, what was it, Vancouver?
And what happened?
And it has happened before, but I just don't think that when we're talking about it,
Generally, I agree, but let's watch.
there's a better chance of him just playing there than anything else that we could ever talk about.
Well, to your point about markets.
It was a better chance of the Pelicans losing the lottery than anything else.
There we
There
go.
you go.
Fact.